Scott, I hope you're not afraid of heights.
No, not in the slightest.
I'm terrified. Scott, you and I put on the Oculus this week because we jumped into the climb, and honestly, I am terrified of heights. Yeah. I hate heights, but this game is so cool.
Yeah, you definitely had to muster some courage to get into this one, because when you get into this game, it is just like climbing a rock face. I have to say, I've been blown away by the visuals in this game.
It's impressive. So even when you stand on the very starting of the platform and just look around at the vistas, it is beautiful. This is honestly one of the best games I've seen in a VR system to date.
For me, we've gone through a lot of these kind of VR games and a lot of experiences. Yeah. To me, I kind of want to put this in the middle of like a Venn diagram of the two, because it's either the best VR experience I've ever played, or it's just a succinct game that plays so smoothly it becomes an experience.
Sure.
I'm just caught in the middle there, because it's all about the visuals and it's all about the actual motions. Yep. It's just so true to what you're doing.
So basically, the climb is from you climbing from the bottom to the top.
Yep.
And that is it. That's your experience per se, but the game of it aspect comes into you actually traversing the rock formation and how you get around, because of some parts you would then, as you look further down the road, you experience things like your rock ledge will have little pebbles on it, so you actually got to dust that off first before you. But while you're trying to dust that off, you only have so much stamina on the other hand holding you in place. So as your bar, you have this wristband, and it will go down and go red, and all of a sudden you get beads of sweat come on your face.
And your guy starts panicking, and you hear the breathing starting, and then you know you're almost out of energy.
And then I fall, and then I go, no! And I kind of close my eyes because I'm falling, and it's kind of disheartening, because when you fall, man, it's a rush to fall.
There is certain game aspects to it. They do kind of put this arcadiness to it. There's points that you can get while you're climbing, and there's a speed that you want to keep speed so you get the right time. There's a leaderboard so you can compare to your friends, and you can actually race each other too. That's really cool. It shows their little gloves moving around on the side of the mountain.
I would have liked the actual multiplayer aspect to it, though. I would have loved to meet you online. Okay, you ready? Let's go. And then we race to each other and kind of beat each other to the top. I think that would have been really, really cool. That's the only part, honestly, from this game that I'm missing. So some of this game it detaches me a little bit from the experience, especially when I go around from one corner face to the other. Because all of a sudden you're here, but your camera will just go and like flip on you. And you're like, whoa!
It's like
okay, I gotta brace myself again, right?
It's like they're going off of where your hands are, but they don't take into account where your head is for the direction of the camera exactly. It's a little different, because I feel like your feet pivot around the edge, but your head does not. And sometimes that'll lead you with your head in the mountain, and that can actually just blacks out your screen. It tells you your head is in something, and you have to get it out of the way. Now that's the only kind of hindrance I had when I was climbing. Everything else seemed to work really well. It was just when sometimes you have to hang from things, and then my head would be in it. Sometimes they're doing a weird chin-up maneuver, and that's kind of it just feels a little bit off.
I'm crawling across rocks, and I'm down here instead of if I'm hanging. I feel like I should be up top, where I'm more kind of here sometimes. So sometimes I'm where I should be, and then other times I'm down here, and then other times I'm just kind of. But most of the time, it feels really good. But there were a couple moments there I thought, this doesn't feel how I
have to reorient yourself to where you're climbing. The game is full of all these different kind of surrounding things that are happening. The hang gliders that fly in, and when you complete a level, your guy actually just stands there at the top and shouts, "Whoopee!" or something, and it's just, you feel the triumph of the character, and you can look down and see how far you've climbed.
It's awesome.
There's even really cool things like an air show at the end of some of the maps. They play this kind of thing for you to watch while you're at the top of the mountain, and it just blew me away. It looked so good. It was so exciting. After doing this kind of, climbing physical thing, I got something to watch. It was a nice little reward at the end of the mountain.
Now, for me to jump into this game though, I can only play a level at a time. Because after that, I get that motion sickness. The guy's breathing heavy and like there's sweat. When he's sweating, I actually start to sweat. I'm like, I am feeling the heat on this game. I had to step out and put it down. One part I actually got sick and had to lay down.
Oh no.
But eventually came back to it and kept playing. But you want to keep going and you want to get to the next peak and the next peak. Next thing you know, you're going from one ledge, and to make it from one ledge, sometimes you have to jump to make it to the next piece and the next piece. And then you're climbing along ladders and there's bars in the ice that I'm going across. And the game is just awesome. It's freaking awesome, and I was so impressed with it. But just that disconnect of getting really sick,
unfortunate.
That was hard because I wanted to keep going and I couldn't.
Now I handle these things a little bit better, just kind of naturally. I still was getting that after maybe about 50 minutes. Some levels were different than others. I kind of got a little bit more used to it as time went on. And there's really not too much of a shortage of things to do. They give you 4 different kind of locations, different terrain types, so to speak. And then within those you get, I think, 3 different difficulties and some extra harder kind of challenge levels called boulder levels. Now, that's quite a lot of content to this game because there's even multiple paths within each of these climbs. So there's really a lot to explore, and they do reward it in the form of collectibles. There's these weird gnomes kind of sunk into the wall, or a camera phone or something hanging from a hook. There's a lot of different things to kind of keep you exploring the small places that you're going to.
I like that I can take one path to accomplish it and go back and try another one, or you can just, I went this way instead of going that way kind of thing. I like that when they introduce that to games, that it's not always just so linear from point A to point B.
Getting away from that experience and more into a game, you have options.
Yes, yeah. So, but if you get lost, you hit one of the buttons and it kind of gives you this track of where you should maybe kind of guide you to go, which is cool because sometimes I'm looking there and go, man, I don't really know where I'm supposed to go right now.
Yeah, the visual cues are very slight on a lot of the different rock types.
Which is great, though.
It is good, because I don't want it to be just kind of leading me along, but at the same time, it just has enough difficulty. It's good.
Sure.
But there is that disconnect, just probably based on all the different maneuvers you have to do. So that was our take of the climb and a little bit of an explanation on that. Now, I enjoyed this game. I had a great time with it. I have to give this one a 9.5 out of 10. It's almost that perfect thing, and I really don't have anything I want to add to it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm right there with you. Almost. I wish there was a multiplayer aspect to it that we can be a little bit more competitive. There is that leaderboard that we can go against each other with, but that's really kind of about it. So if we have that other ability to then have you and I in the same game and go on against each other, man, I would have been right there with you. For me, it gets a 9.
The climb makes no mistakes bringing the mountain to you. Audio and graphics are phenomenal, and a selection of locations keeps you hooked on for more.